I'm just like everybody else, and people need to understand that my life's not always been rosy. It's not always been what they see Ingrid being silly and funny and, So, yeah, people need to understand that we all have trials and tribulations in life. It's how we deal with them that matters.
Welcome to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks. I'm your host, Brian Wright. What you can expect from Beyond the Bulldog is to learn, enjoy, and participate from the comfort of your seat, whether on the road or off. You'll engage in topics and stories from people that work throughout the trucking industry. This is mile marker 28. Today's conversation, and for the third time, is with Ingrid Brown, Refrigerated Operations Director with Blackjack Express, and we talk about life on the road. In this podcast, you'll learn the story behind Ingrid's success in trucking, overcoming challenges of life on the road, and being involved in the industry through various organizations.
You're listening to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks.
We're here with Ingrid Brown, professional truck driver, operations manager, Blackjack Express. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. For everybody's sake, let's do a quick introduction. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Ingrid Brown, 46-year veteran of professional driver. I'm also the operations manager for Refrigerated Division at Blackjack Express, LLC in West Memphis, Arkansas.
We're going to be talking about stories, or as they say here in North Carolina, stories. All right, so let's start with Reefer. How is that different than dry van or other forms of trucking?
If most people listen to this as Reefer, we have to explain that that's a refrigerated unit that keeps things cold. A Reefer, of course, is a refrigerated unit. It maintains temperature. And a lot of people think, like when I haul ice cream, that, you put the ice cream in there and it can freeze it, or it can, all the product that goes in there has to be temperature and the unit's set to that temperature. I haul strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, specialty berries at, say, 33 degrees. You can't put them on there at 45 degrees because a refrigerated unit is not made to bring product temperature down. It is made to maintain product temperature. You cannot heat it or cool it like you think. Example, if you're loading corn, if you're loading it from the field, they bring it, cut it, or bring it into the cooler. And corn you can't put into a chilling tube, which I'll tell you about that in a minute. You can't put it in a chilling tube really and cool it down to, temperature. So most of the time it's loaded hot onto the reefer. And reefers struggle. Like I said, it would take you 4 or 5 days of continuous running to bring that down to what the box temperature is. Also, they'll throw ice on top of corn. Corn will actually combust. Corn is able to combust from the heat in the most of it is still in the shuck. So a lot of people don't know that part.
So that's happened to you?
I have not had it happen. Yeah. I have seen it happen. But again, you've got to make sure that when you maintain this stuff that, when you close those doors, you don't want anything to definitely combust at all. But refrigerated units are to maintain. They're not to bring your product to temperature, and they're not made to but you may load stuff that just came out of the field, which reefers are the whole key with those is fresh, same day process. So they'll cut the product during the day, get it out of the field, bring it in, pack it, chill it, throw it on the truck that night. So a lot of times, like California, you go and you load at night. You load in the evening to night. Strawberries, same way in Florida. You're going to load at night. Yeah. Well, because they're still picking. They start picking at daylight, and they, bring line haul trucks into the shed, unload. They sort them, pack them in their packaging, through they gas strawberries, they gas them and chill them, and boom, on the truck they go.
All right, so you've been driving for a while with reefers, and they always work. There's never a time where the temperature goes wrong or the unit goes out and you've got a full load, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So what do you do? Just go faster?
Well, yeah, you just open the vents and go faster, and the air goes through and keeps everything cool. Except it might be 116 outside, so Anyway, no, you don't go open the door. Perfect example. First of this week, had a driver call and tell me that his unit sounded really funny, and he said, but it's set at 34 was the temperature setting. What I haul on both ends of my directs has to be within about a 2 degree. Above 2 degrees, I never want either one of my products to drop 1 degree below what the setting is. I run 33 on one and 34 on the other. And this was running like 37, 38. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, throw it in defrost. Defrost will a lot of times take the condensation out of the inside of the box, which in turn will circulate the air better as well as bring your temperature down. Didn't work. So I ended up and I told him to turn his speaker on his phone on, and I was listening to it. And you know how it sounds, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard it, if you get a bad gas or bad fuel, and it gets into the filters, and it just kind of struggles for the engine to run. And that's what it sounded like. It sounded like the motor was struggling, of course, but it just kind of, so I asked him, where did you fuel at? And we use some mama pop places coming across from east to west, always have. Have not known this place to have any trash and fuel, so it may not have been there. It could have been the time before or whatever it was settled. Anyway, I ended up and I found we have national repair lines. This one runs through MHC, the Kenworth side, and they have a carrier side. I called them. The guy was actually working on another one. He went 2 hours down the road, got straight in at midnight. It was the filter. Mm-hmm. And they have a way to keep the unit cooled while they're working on it, so you don't lose anything on product. Now, one thing about refrigerated trailers is now everybody puts what we call a tattletale or a recorder. So it records, and now it's so precise that that recorder is showing to track and trace teams and to the shipper exactly what the temperature is, what the air's blowing on the circulation, high temps, whatever. It's nothing that if one changes a degree to get a phone call and say, hey, your unit's running about 34. Let's bump it down for an hour, 2 hours, and then we'll bump it back up. So per shipper, you will change it. Other than that, they're pretty set. My guys run theirs on manual, so they pick and choose what temperature and set the temperature. Nowadays, like Thermo King, I'm a big Thermo King girl. We have telematics that we can control them from the office. I can control it from my phone on each one of my reefers. I can turn them off, turn them on, set the temp, clear codes, do diagnostics, downloading, the whole trip, and send it to them if they feel like there's a problem or they rejected something, as well as they track it. They do have a location, a GPS tracker in there. So a lot of these are, they're amazing what these can do. Yeah. I have LED lights down the insides of my trailers that, they can turn the lights on inside the trailers. And I think back of the old spring ride reefers, and, they would just rattle so hard when they were running and stuff, that today's units are just amazing of the diagnostics and that thing. So, finding services is gotten pretty simple, but you still won't find them at truck stops. Yeah. There's not enough technicians, again. It's another area in transportation we've been talking about.
Right.
Sorry, that was a really good plug for technicians. You can go work on refrigerated units. So there you go.
New opportunities.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about technology. You started a number of years ago.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Before the internet, before cell phones. Communication's always critical when it comes down to trucking. Where are they? Why are they diverted? Why are they late? Is it traffic? Is it weather? So tell me about some stories where, back in the days, it was a lot different.
First thing that pops in my mind, in 1999, Mike's husband and I were running team, and we were hauling Department of Defense. So we had a panic button. We were actually running it at my truck, and I had a panic button that was mounted under the dash, and we would run all kinds of munitions from many bases. Anything from 75 M16s that were nailed to the front of the bulkhead from Colt Manufacturing in Connecticut and taking them to the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. And we had a load of, I believe it was detonators actually on, and we would swap back and forth between pulling dry vans, and we ran power only with this on these because sometimes we would load Phoenix land-to-air missiles on flatbeds. A lot of heavy hitting stuff. And so we were coming across, and you had the large Qualcomm installed, and it was connected straight to DOD. And that DOD would ping every 15 minutes or randomly in that 15 minutes. So at the time, I mean, the service and the satellite service was not all over. You would go through dead spots. And so if you got the notification that the ping didn't register, it would start pinging every 60 seconds after. Then you found a nearest place, and you dialed the 800 number to the DOD and reported your ID number and da-da-da-da. Well, it never pinged. And I was coming across 64 in West Virginia over the mountains and stuff, and there was no service. And, didn't think anything about it, pulled in the rest area. I ran in the restroom, came out, sat with the load. He ran in, came out, sat with the load, and started to fix a sandwich. And the next thing I know, it was like 15 highway patrol came flying into the rest area. And because they couldn't ping us, they had sent them after us, and they had taken our last location and sent everybody in that area after us. And I was like, what are we doing, So that was kind of a crazy thing to see where we really were, even in an area, in a time that we didn't have the technology of the response, and how they communicated and how they still work through it.
Yeah.
So those times were kind of interesting. You're like surrounded by everything law enforcement wise, and they're all like, I'm like, they're going to bear down on us, Yeah. But, there were, a lot of things. There would be certain loads that they would follow you on, and you would never know. You would get about 200 miles away, and all of a sudden they'd roll up beside of you and put a sign up in the window of their name, the number, and all of this telling you to pull over, and they would do an inspection. And I have been where it happened to me twice, and both times I didn't stop without hitting my panic button so that I had a backup. And that was basically what you did anyway, is that was what they were testing and making sure you were following protocol and you knew what to do if somebody was trying to. So, yeah, those were cool days.
Yeah. Today we highlight Project K9 Hero and their mission to serve those who protected our families, our communities, and our America. Project K9 Hero works to ensure the best quality of life for our nation's retired police and military working canines by providing assistance with medical costs, prescription food, rehabilitation, rehoming, and end-of-duty services. Since 2016, Project K9 Hero has cared for and supported over 350 retired service dogs, honoring their life-saving work and allowing them to live their best lives after serving our country. And now, Project K9 Hero is embarking on a new campaign to build a rehabilitation and rehoming center to help even more dogs after their military and police service. To learn more and to show your love to these American heroes, visit projectk9hero.org. That's project, the letter K, the number 9, hero.org. Join us as we support these canine heroes who have given so much to America. We are here with Ingrid Brown, professional driver, operations manager with Blackjack Express. We are telling stories from the road. Who is one of the most important people to you that has helped you along the way?
I can't name one person. If I do, I have 1,000 that I'm going to miss, and that's not fair. Because there's been so many people that have formed my career for me. I just followed what they told me to do. I did the work, and they gave me the ideas and the support. I can always say my daddy. Absolutely.
What are some of the most valuable lessons you've learned?
Valuable lessons. Listen more than I speak. Try everything that somebody gives you if you ask for help. That's a huge one. Because, people can tell you and give you their experience, and you'll say, that sounds crazy, or I don't want to do it that way, or that worked for you, but that doesn't sound like, if you don't try it, you don't know. People don't just tell you stuff just to hear themselves talk. You have to listen, but you have to give that enough thought and enough trial and error to find out whether it's going to work for you. And somebody's experience may have turned out a failure, and it may be a success for you. At the same time, their success may be your failure. So taking everything somebody tells you, you have to take it to heart. You can't just, especially if you ask for the help, that's huge. You're either going to make it or break it by that.
Yeah.
Or you can try it on your own decisions and see how that works out.
Yeah. Well, people that fail a lot learn a lot too.
That's it.
But sometimes it takes them a little bit longer to get ahead.
Right. And it's taken me 46 years and I'm not done yet. I'm better today than I was when I started, but there were so many ups and downs. There were times that I was a complete failure and I had to start all over and let's regroup. The only way I knew how to start over and regroup was to go find and listen and learn from somebody that was doing it right, or either I'd have stayed as a failure.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can get up from falling down is, you've got to see and get back up and get it from somebody, learn a different way.
So what do you prefer, contract work or like spot market stuff?
I prefer contract work.
Yeah.
Contract work is what I do this for.
Yeah.
That's the personable side. That's the friendships that turn into relationships. That's to me, that is transportation. Spot market, that's a money game. You might as well go sit down at the table in Vegas. You're going to win or lose.
Yeah.
There's no in between. With contract, there's negotiations, there's, adjustments, there's agreements, there's disagreements, but you still stay in a relationship. So there's so much more to contract freight. It's a lot harder to get, but the only reason it's a lot harder to get is because you're not trying hard enough on your relationship.
Trucking is about relationships.
Absolutely.
Not just, obviously, customer, trucker, A to B, deliver, but it's also, the community of truckers helping each other. Because someone's on the side of the road with the flashers on, many will actually pull over and try to assist.
In a spot market is a thing created by brokers. That's not the trucking industry. There's nothing to spot market other than, you're going to tell somebody what they're going to make. Now they just go do the job and don't ask questions and don't say anything.
Right.
You don't have choices. That's the best way to that. I'm stuttering around to say you have no choices in spot market.
Got it.
You either take what they give you or figure it out another way.
How do you maximize your routes? Clearly, there are some opportunities where you're going from point A to point B, you're loaded, and now on the way back, you're not quite sure. How do you fill that so you're not deadheading and losing profit? Does spot market come in to fill that void, or what are some of the experiences you've had on that?
Very rarely. But if I feel a deadhead with the load, it's because it's people that I've worked with. I know the customers that I'm going to be hauling with. I know the product I'm going to be hauling. It's just not some random, I got to move. And you're really not asking the right one to ask about empty moves, because if my customer needs a truck, last Christmas, my Florida customer needed a truck, and I ran one from Virginia, deadheaded him down to make sure that his product was moved. I've got one last week that I moved out of Indiana back down to Arkansas because my customer needed a truck. But in the long run, it'll pay for itself. They take care of me on that. So it's the relationship of it. I mean, I'm not scared to dead hit a truck. At the same time, you do it for the reason and the right reason. You know, nobody can go around empty all the time. And I know there's a lot of people listening to this saying, yes, Ingrid, and how much do you ride around empty now? But that's another story. Yeah, deadheading, you got to keep an eye on it. But the thing is, your customer service, if you've got contract and you've got dedicated and you've got people dependent upon you or they need you to cover what somebody else dropped,
Yeah.
I'll do it all day long.
What's your favorite drive?
Alaska, because it still has so many new, unknown territories that I haven't been.
Mm-hmm.
Went up there hauling dynamite, and it was winter. When I went up the last time, and it was amazing. Amazing. I mean, it's kind of like, I can't believe I'm doing this, and it's minus 51 and snowing, you know, like crazy, and you can't run about 25 mile an hour, and there's no cell phone, nobody around, or anything else. In this state, it's literally my east to west run.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a coast to coast runner. I can pick somewhere in every state that's beautiful and probably multiple places. But I like my East Coast runs.
Mm-hmm.
You can get out and ride and enjoy what you do. But I know the people on each end, and I know the people in the middle. I used to say I should have a mailbox in California. And I really thought about it because I was in California as much as I was at home. And, you know, it's when you become on that extent for so many years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you change your routes up. You go to California down on the southern side, or you go back to the northern side, and, you know, you miss seeing Wyoming and Montana, then, okay, go through Wyoming and Montana.
Mm-hmm.
So the diversity of that.
Yeah.
But coast to coast but Alaska's the dream.
What's the worst drive? Like, it's just one run you had, nothing worked. Traffic, weather, maintenance.
Probably DEF system on my 17 Peterbilt back. I had a load of chicken coming to Alabama and ended up actually got a good friend that brought one of his trucks off the yard and had to pick my trailer up on the side of the road, and he's a flatbedder, and he had to go sit at a chicken plant for 12 hours, ended up 16, and he said, I'll never hook to another reefer in my life. You know, ending up on a hook on a tow truck and turning around thinking it got fixed and getting back out and ended up back on the hook again because it wasn't fixed. And, you know, you go through this I think I went through like 14 months of that with this truck. And it was a custom truck that I'd spec'd and ordered, and it was just 14 months of pure heck, you know. Those are the times that you really wonder, what am I doing? You know,
Mm-hmm.
you sink everything that you do, and you turn around and you're sinking $27,000 in a motor that you aren't going to get back,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but it's going to keep you in business. And it's probably the worst 14 months of my career.
Yeah.
That was a toughie.
Mm-hmm.
That was a toughie.
What kept you going?
My network around me, friends that were able to put me in their truck while mine was down, opportunities like that,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I don't give up, knowing I don't give up on anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why I'm still trucking at almost 64, you know, and in the industry, of course, I'm not trucking as much now. Crazy things, you know, been happening for the last 8 months, starting the Reefer division at Blackjack and, you know, hiring drivers and buying equipment and all that, you know. Again, it's one of the things, just like with the Reefer division, you just don't know what's ahead. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to push through to see what is there. So that's what pushed me through those 14 months.
Yeah. What about parking? You know, there's a
Parking.
pretty big shortage in everywhere. You're seeing trucks, on-ramps, off-ramps, random places. How do you deal with that? I mean, you're running all the time, everywhere.
2019, state of North Carolina had 5 listening sessions, and DOT had open listening sessions, and I was actually here at Tri-Cities, and I decided that, because parking's a big thing to me, I was on CARB, California Resource Board, and the California Board on parking for a while. And then this popped up again, and it was a way to get back in to advocating for it and finding out what is everybody doing. Because down here, I was coming to Winston quite a bit during that time, and there's just no parking. So I wanted to see what were the cities and counties and stuff doing to help with the situation. So they had 5 meetings across the state, and I ended up and parked my truck, and I went to 4 of them. I made 4 of them. I mean, I would leave here, I'd go to Charlotte, and they'd have one the next day. I'd be sitting there. The next one was in Asheville, and I'd be sitting there 2 days later, go get a motel, and and I found that a lot of our parking issue, the general public has no clue. They have no clue why we're parked on a ramp. They have no clue why we're parked on their street 2 streets over from their house. They have no clue, but they want to fight that. Everybody forgets that what they have and what they can reach out and touch and wear comes on a truck. So if they don't want trucks around,
right,
what are they going to get? So, but at the same time, they don't understand the hours of service. They don't understand why you've got to sit there for so long. They don't understand that shippers, receivers don't provide parking. So you've got that side of it. Then you've got the side of the states, whether it's going to be county, state, or federal. And each one of those are their own. So when you're fighting parking for more parking, you're not fighting the country. You're not fighting the state. You're not fighting just the county. Now you're fighting the city. Everybody has a different opinion. Everybody has a different reason. Everybody has a different thing, but nobody wants trucks.
Yeah.
And when we started telling, and the council and aldermen and all of that of the tribe, Piedmont Triad, it was really interesting because they contacted me, and I came back and met with them after this. And I also was asked to go to Texas and sit on the Texas Governor's Committee and speak to them a couple of times. Is the education to the cities, the townships, the counties, and the state of hours of service, of what it actually we need in parking is what needs to be done to help. So I'll leave that with that because I think we understand that by all means. The parking situation when it comes nationwide, everybody has to understand that truck stops are private owned. Truck stops don't have to have parking. That's not regulated by government. That's not regulated by state. There's no regulation on truck stop and parking. That's because truck stops were created for fuel, for amenities, and they just put parking in there because everybody went to bed. So then they created parking. Now we're seeing where parking is now becoming more paid parking,
right,
which is making it so much harder if you're a driver that has to pay for it. A lot of companies pay for their own pay for their parking, and then they had started the reserve parking, so you could get closer, or you had a guaranteed spot, or things like that. You have 11 trucks to 1 parking spot in the country. 11 to 1. You can go by and get a reserved spot, but it's not going to be there when you get there. And the truck stops don't enforce the fact that somebody decided to park in your parking spot. They don't go make a move. You're still stuck.
Yeah.
So what do you do there? There's been tens and tens of millions of dollars put into effect. California, when I was on their truck parking committee for 4 years, just out recently, was building 5 new trucks rest areas for truck parking. It was amazing that when they sent out the blueprints on this, that they didn't even have it built to where it was 42 foot was the length of the parking spots. They were 11 feet wide. There were a horseshoe coming into it that was 12 feet wide, so you can forget doubles or oversized or anything like this. So you have people designing truck parking that really don't really understand it.
Yeah.
We here in North Carolina I've watched when down on 77 when they built the new above Charlotte and they moved the 2 rest areas into the middle. they forgot that medians are not the best friends of trucks. And then it's state ordinance. It's a design of engineers for the state. So these are a lot of the problem because there could be a whole lot more trucks parked there.
Did you know?
This year, Mack Trucks has launched the Mack Pioneer Long Haul Tractor, an all-new Mack Anthem Regional Haul Tractor. Both of these trucks set the standard for fuel efficiency, driver comfort, and safety. Learn about these trucks and others in Mack Trucks lineup in 2 new ways, the Mack Live Tour and Truck Builder. Mack Live Tour connects you directly with a dedicated product specialist who provides a personalized one-on-one walk-around tour. During each 30-minute complimentary session, you'll learn about features, specs, and available options tailored to your interests. These tours offer two-way communication via audio or chat, plus the platform enables you to view while maintaining privacy. After experiencing the live tour, you can use Mack's cutting-edge Truck Builder to customize every aspect of your dream truck. Truck Builder offers an unparalleled level of customization, enabling you to personalize your truck from the ground up. You can explore a full 3D rendering of both the truck exterior and the cab interior, including various trim options. You can customize the exterior color with an expanded palette, and you also have full control over component selection across body, powertrain, axles, suspension, and chassis. Once you have tailored your truck to your specific needs, you can share or save your configuration and even send it to a nearby dealer. Check out these solutions at macktrucks.com.
This has been Did You Know?
All right, we are here back with Ingrid Brown, professional driver, operations manager, Blackjack Express, and many other things. So let's talk about a good drive. You had a pretty memorable experience coast to coast recently. Why don't you share about that?
Let's see. So I was contacted by Motive, which is the ELD provider, software provider, and they wanted to give their annual conference the experience to actually put their hands on a truck that they had put their products in. I have basically as our Blackjack Express show truck, my big red truck. I call her Lucy. Her name is Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And I say she, her, because, we girls have to stick together. How that goes. And call her Lucy, like Lucille Ball with the red head, and we're always into something. So took Lucy down and parked her in downtown Austin, and they sent in some guys, and they retrofitted the Omni cams on the mirrors and everything like that, tracking system in the thing, and had a wonderful experience. Everybody was just, because their conference is mostly all of their, software and dealers and customers. So I finished up in Austin, which was pretty cool. Going into Austin, I had a 7 police court escort. Okay. It was crazy because I had to go downtown and I knew that it was a restricted route. So I contacted Austin Police Department, and here they came out on the interstate, and 3 picked me up on the interstate. I got to the ramp, and there's ones on bicycles and side-by-sides, and here we go down through town. So it's pretty cool. From there, we started on basically a charity tour and a support tour. Bryce is really, really supportive of charities and Alan as well. And so I first went to California and went to TFK, Trucking for Kids. It's sponsored by 10-4 Magazine, who are amazing friends of ours and known Dan and his wife for years. And what they do is they have just a basic open truck show for Shriners. And so we went out there, supported that, and spent time out there with the West Coast, side of the country, and shared the truck. Well, my truck, Bryce and Ellen surprised me with this truck. They built this truck, and I was hauling relief stuff. I was driving a black truck and reefer for them, and they hid this from me totally, of building me a truck to take as an invite to Denton. And I had been invited to go down there And I was doing relief hauls from the hurricane from Memphis to home up here to Asheville and Boone. And I kept telling them, we really need to shut this truck down so we can do a few little things to it to go to Denton next week. And they were like, no, just take one more load. And so I did. And I'm like, I'm panicking behind the phone, but I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. We're good. We're good. We'll work all weekend. We'll get it done. Well, it might take more than a couple of days, but nope. We're going to get it done. So I was panicking. I mean, I was literally panicking. I was not sleeping. I was panicking. How are we going to do this? And then I just was like, it doesn't matter, because that was a charity event for United Way down in Denton, Texas. So I came back in. They said I needed to come to the yard a day early. And I'm like, well, y'all said you weren't going to be there. Come on. So I go driving down the road to the yard, and I look up, and I'm like, gosh, somebody got a new red pickup, because you can see way off in the distance. And I get closer, and I realize there sits this brand new red 589 and stainless Great Dane. And I'm like, I stop in the middle of Highway 70 that's parallel to 40, and I just scream. And I finally get around and get pulled into the backside and back around, and I jump out and run up there and cried like a baby. And I mean, it was just all I could do was just cry and cry and cry. So, yes, I did cry. And so that's kind of the thing was it's the first one that's been built out for a show truck or anything of that model. So everybody's just fell in love with it. Yeah. So we wanted to share it. It's a work truck to us. But it's been the fun things of the changes in the trailer. Alan built the whole trailer, the fabrication, the everything on it. So everything's really personalized. Yeah. So went to TFK, which was at Formosa Speedway, right out of Bakersfield, and about 250 trucks, and had an amazing time. The Shriners were there with their little carts, and cool. And some of the kids from the Shriners were there, and I get chills talking about it. So from there, I came back and went to Albany, New York. So I was on my charity run. And in Albany, we work really close with a company called Dagan. And Dagan is a heavy haul division that hauls we do, but the big stuff too. Amazing. Mary came in them. They're just amazing. So they do a truck pull every year. Now, when you say truck pull, what do you think?
Think about dirt and the sled behind these huge 4x4s.
No. Yeah. This is a human truck pull, pulling trucks. So what they do, and it's for Special Olympics of New York. So we took it up there, and that was their very first truck show with the truck pull. And they're teams of 11, and it becomes a huge competition between gyms, the highway patrol, and the county deputies, schools, high schools, and they're pulling bobtail trucks with a rope.
That is so
And
good.
It is so cool. It's just so neat. So that was an amazing weekend for Special Olympics. From there, I went to Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol, Virginia, to the Speedway at Bristol Motor Speedway, and did large cars and guitars, which is a breast cancer, which, cancer is really important to me. And Tony Justice does that one, and a lot of people know Tony for his music as well. And they do a convoy. So everybody drops their trailers, but the first 10 gets to bid on spots, the first 10 spots of being lead trucks, and then you get to pull your trailer too. So we actually bid and got the lead truck for the convoy, of course, and all of that is for charity. And that one's pretty cool because there's a thing called Star Stripes and White Lines that Bennett Truck Lines is using Atlanta Motor Speedway, and they had the national finals. And it's more so of bringing the truck show family back together as a family instead of competitors. So they've gone through the country to all of the shows, and they have chosen hand-picked people to come to the nationals at Atlanta Motor Speedway in November. And I got an invitation in November. So that was pretty cool because it's based off of the people and the company that owns the truck and what do they do? Are they in philanthropy and charities and all this and stuff? So we were just really tickled with that. From there, I went to Shell Super Rigs in Atlanta. It was at the Motor Speedway, and we were chosen for Shell Rotella's calendar shoot and did well.
Awesome.
So the truck, everybody says you have a show truck. We put it on display at Matt's. It was at Matt's this year, and it's like the truck is for people to enjoy. It's not just for me to drive. It's not for us to say we have a show truck or anything. It's something for people that don't get to touch a truck or get in a truck or and it's an amazing way to raise money for different charities. Sticking to one charity is an amazing, great thing. But when you have someone that believes in, like Bryce does, of helping everybody, helping whoever's in need. Everybody that we've worked with and gone to this year, their cause and their reason is as meaningful as the next. So now you see why this is family. I mean, this is literally. This is why I'm where I'm at.
Sounds more like a calling than it is a career.
You're exactly right. I started loving Special Olympics when I was teaching skiing to them when I was 14 and 15 up in Boone. And so I've really, really loved the charity side of it.
Yeah.
So, but, Bryce and Alan are so supportive. And their outreach to others is just, and the drivers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like working with Dagan. I mean, the relationships, relationships are friendships with them. And that's really, really, even at the end of my career here, it's a good way to go out whenever the day comes that I go out. I'm not planning on that anytime soon, by the way.
Right. Well, of course, you've got a lot of stuff to do.
I do.
So on your LinkedIn profile, it also says motivational speaking, writing, and that goes back to essentially day one in trucking. What's that about?
Pretty much. I love to write, but when I write, it's kind of funny because I write in my normal Appalachian American hillbilly language. If you ever read anything I write. In 21, Freightwaves contacted me, and I piddle around with, just sharing different stuff. But Freightwaves contacted me and asked me if I would do stuff from the road. So I was doing an article a week on different stuff. And I've always chosen not to get in the controversy stuff. I choose not to, it's a headline and a news headline. It's stuff that, talking about drivers being lonely on the road, talking about being gone from home and how to, face that, or, talking about locations and people and highlighting places and things, events, small towns, large stuff, whatever. And then I was doing basically a video. I don't know if you really call it a podcast, but it was America on 18 Wheels at the time. And it was, I did that till 23. It was almost 3 years. And then I just, I've kind of enjoyed doing all of that. I did it for WLA for the 7-8 months that I was out some. I do some spots on Sirius XM. I've done that since 19. I've been a co-host and a guest, kind of regular type thing. So any way to spread the word of there's good in this industry. I get tired of seeing and hearing and talking of all the bad, you know. There's very little good put out there, and I will say I stalked you, by the way.
Oh, dear.
I did. I stalked you heavily. I stalked you and watched all of the episodes you had done of Behind the Bulldog. And we need more of this. The industry needs more of this. And I'm not saying this because I'm sitting across from you I'm saying this because this is a positive in the industry that the industry needs. The industry needs to know the good side instead of all of the bad side that you see in media and social media networks and stuff. I want you to know what a difference a positive note in the industry makes, not only in a driver's day, but in somebody that's sitting behind a desk that's facing, crazy stuff that goes on in the industry and whatever, especially in times of the industry being down, rates being down, people not knowing. And, the unsurety is fearful. It's a scary thing that you wake up to every morning if you're in logistics. You're giving it a light that you don't have to look at that every day. So thanks for doing that.
Well, I appreciate that. We want to have great guests, good stories. Maybe if there's a tip out there that people can pick up on, whether they're a new driver or experienced, someone in the trucking industry, and it should reflect positively, period. And thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. But you're touching a lot more than what the trucking industry is. You're reaching out to a lot of general public that doesn't understand or know the trucking industry, and you're giving them a chance to see what it is in a positive way.
Well, we are about the end of this segment. What else would you like to share? Stories from the road, favorite experiences?
I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I have 3 people, and then Bryson Allen said this week, they don't know why I don't write a book. And I'm like, no, I couldn't write that much. And so many wonderful things in the industry that's happened along with literally life's experiences.
Yeah.
I've experienced both of my parents passing in my career. I've experienced divorce. I've experienced, the ups and downs of kids and that kind of thing. But I learned that I have to deal with that when it happens to be able to get where I am today and to move myself forward to a better place. Keeping those memories, of course. Keeping things like that close no matter what. I have an amazing ex-husband, so I can't complain about that at all. And amazing kids. But all the stuff that you go through in life, that I'm just like everybody else. And people need to understand that my life's not always been rosy. It's not always been what they see Ingrid being silly and funny and, So, yeah, people need to understand that we all have trials and tribulations in life. It's how we deal with them that matters.
That's well said. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning into Beyond the Bulldog with Ingrid Brown, Refrigerated Operations Director with Blackjack Express. Our podcast is centered around providing stories and content that keep you entertained and informed. Let us know what you think about this week's podcast and share ideas about what you want to hear and who you think would be a great guest. Please leave your suggestions in the comments section below.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to follow the Bulldog.